Let's move on to other stories now. Some of the most globally recognized personalities take to Twitter to share their peace of mind. When it comes to causing controversy on the platform, no one comes close to U.S. President Donald Trump. Unshin puts the filterless leader's tweets under the microscope for what the world should take away from them.
Type away and express yourself, but keep it under 140 characters. The social network Twitter now has over 300 million active users. And with over 1,400 tweets since taking office this January, U.S. President Donald Trump is a regular on the platform, to say the least.
From the beginning, President Trump didn't exactly have a great relationship with the media, so he uses Twitter to have his words heard directly from him rather than through the press. But the shortened messages due to Twitter's character limit can create misunderstandings. His blunt word choices also can be seen as a negative aspect of his use of Twitter.
Besides popularizing abbreviations like MAGA, he has publicly labeled people crazy or psycho, engaged in heated discussions dubbed Twitter wars, and has often been criticized for causing confusion through his mixed messages on government policies, as seen in his recent tweets on the deferred action for childhood arrivals.
It may very well appeal to some of his strongest supporters. I think most Americans are concerned by it. Twitter existed under President Obama, but he followed the very traditional, kind of way you run a presidency, which is you acknowledge and understand that everything the U.S. president says is important. Everything has an impact. Everything is watched around the world.
And the concerns have spread outside the United States. With the direct and outspoken way he uses the medium, President Trump's tweets have a global impact like no other, often making headlines even here in Seoul.
In June, Trump claimed a new trade deal had been discussed with South Korean leader Moon Jae-in ahead of their joint statement, even suggesting the two had agreed on renegotiating the landmark free trade agreement, causing chaos for industry watchers on both sides. And his fiery yet somewhat vague remarks on North Korea's reckless provocations had the world on the edge of their seats, as what level of measures Washington was considering was anybody's guess.
These kinds of remarks by President Trump is making very much confusions in policy terms between the U.S. and South Korea. So all these policymakers are making efforts to, to normalize what has been confused by each side. So I think we have to just, keep the principles of what should be between the U.S. and South Korea rather than just, swayed by what he mentions all the time in tweeting.
With time, experts add that politicians and world leaders have learned not to believe everything that President Trump writes on his Twitter feed.
No one, in most of our view, benefits from the kind of uncertainty where you get this kind of unfiltered essence of Donald Trump and you're not quite sure what that means and you don't know how much of it's going to end up in policy. But nothing I've seen so far suggests he's going to allow himself to be filtered.
So for now, this government by Twitter is here to stay. But whether they're just passing thoughts or serious declarations of intent, the words of such a prominent figure with much leverage reach way beyond than his 40 million followers on the platform. Unshin, Arirang News.